So if you remember back in May, I made a video called Vaticinating Volta. I'll leave a link to that in the description if you want to go back and watch it. But basically it was a lineup I made of the Volta architecture based off the trends that NVIDIA has for their gaming cards. And I just basically made it to predict what Volta would kind of look like. And at the time I actually featured a card which I called the Titan XV. Well, today, NVIDIA gave us all a massively big surprise and announced their first card in the Volta lineup, which is the Titan V. Now, it features 5,120 CUDA cores, 80 SMs, 12GB of HBM2, a memory bandwidth of 653GB per second, a TDP of 250 watts, 15 teraflops of FP32 compute power, and it comes with a gold or bronze shroud. And yes, this all comes at the low price of $3,000. And of course, you can buy it right now. It's available. It's not a pre-order. It's gonna come to your door within like a week. Now, admittedly, I was really surprised by this, considering we had absolutely no leaks or information about this card dropping. Nothing on video cards, nothing on WCCF Tech, none of it. And nothing on any other sites. But yeah, NVIDIA just really dropped Volta in Q4 of 2017, which is a bit crazy. Now, before you get too excited and start dropping money on this thing for 4K gaming, you have to understand that there are some things about this card which will make it a bad purchase. First of all, it is aimed at the AI market as it features 640 tensor cores, so we're not quite too sure if it's confirmed that you can play games on it, but I imagine like all the other Titan cards that have come before it, you have been able to play games on it, so this one probably will too. But yeah, it's mainly the drivers will be aimed at, AI and professional applications more so than gaming, but I'm sure you will be able to game on it just fine. Second of all, this is not the full-fat GV100 GPU. It's actually a cut-down version of GV100. So you have to really think about this purchase because, like the Titan X Pascal, you might get shafted with a new Titan coming out with even more CUDA cores. So the full version of Volta actually features 84 SMs. This card, the Titan V, only features 80 SMs. So according to the Volta white paper by NVIDIA, the full Titan Volta card would feature 5,376 CUDA cores, whereas this card only has 5,120. Now, if you really don't believe me on this, you can go check the Volta white paper, and I'll also link an AnandTech report in the description. You can check that article out, and you can actually see that I'm not just making this up. This is actually not the full fat GV100 GPU. It's a cut down version. So you might get shafted on this, guys, if you're not too careful. But if you understand that while going in to purchase this card, well, then that's your decision. And I guess what you do with your money is what you do with your money. Now, last but not least, this only features 12 gigabytes of VRAM. And I know what you're thinking, well, that's a lot of VRAM compared to a lot of other cards on the market, and really no game uses, 12 gigabytes of VRAM. But NVIDIA's new gaming lineup actually might feature more VRAM than this in the form of GDDR6 memory. And the only reason why I say that is because that can go all the way up to 16 gigabytes of VRAM. Now, whether NVIDIA actually includes 16 gigabytes of VRAM in their next upcoming cards is pretty doubtful. I don't think they will. But if they did, then yeah, you would be getting shafted on memory as well, not just CUDA cores. So in other words, unless you're like a millionaire or a guy who has a shit ton of money, just don't drop to $3,000 on this. Please, really don't. I understand that, yes, it's the best NVIDIA that can offer right now. And, it's a great card and it's going to do 4K, but it's really not the best that NVIDIA can offer. You got to understand that this is a great card, but it's not the best card. So if you're going into this thinking this is the best card, that's the wrong attitude. Furthermore, it just shows NVIDIA is willing to milk customers, and they understand that there is no competition right now. The only competition NVIDIA has is themselves. So they're going to milk you out of this. So much so that this is the most expensive Titan card to date. Now, you thought the Titan XP was expensive. This is the most expensive Titan card to date, other than the Titan Z, which was the equivalent of 2 Titan Blacks in SLI. So you're only getting 1 chip here, not 2 like you did with the Titan Z. So it really is the most expensive Titan. I mean, if you dropped 2 of these into your system, that's $6,000. And I'm not even sure how well that would work. So like I said, with no competition, NVIDIA is just going full force and exploiting gamers who want to play at 4K 60 FPS with ultra high settings. And they've done it by putting this card at such a high price point. So I say, please avoid this at all costs, as I think that you would be regretting such a decision, especially later on. You know, if they come out with a new Titan and it has the full 5,376 CUDA cores, then you're going to feel like a lot of Titan X Pascal owners did when the Titan XP released. And, you know, I really want to make this video because when I write on Reddit or in the comments section on WCCF Tech, people think I am an NVIDIA fanboy. I am not an NVIDIA fanboy at all. I am pro-consumer. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm not buying one of these, and I'm not reviewing it. Mainly because even though I could afford it, it just wouldn't be worth the investment to me. I wouldn't get the views back. Even if I did get the views back, I just really don't want to support such a practice from NVIDIA because I view it to be anti-consumer. And at the end of the day, just like you, I'm a guy who buys these cards and, you know, plays games. I'm not a guy who's, you know, making tons of money off this and getting sponsorships left and right. And yes, I have a couple of contacts with people at, you know, particular companies. And yeah, I do get some things to review, but that doesn't mean that I'm going to drop my money on a stupid purchase and support a company doing something that's completely anti-consumer. I'm just not that person. My morals, my standards, the way I think goes ahead of my greed and my lust. And I try and do that as best as I can. Now, obviously, I'm probably going to fail at some point, but I'm trying my best to do this. And, you know, I'm sure at some point someone will review this card, and if they do, I'll make a video about it and notify you guys of that review, because I think it is important that you still stay informed about this card. But I'm not a guy who's going to buy one and review it. I just can't support NVIDIA doing this. This is like the 3rd Titan they've released in the past 12 months. I can't support this. Now, look, yes, I am excited NVIDIA is finally showing Volta, and so soon, but I'm just upset at the shameless milking NVIDIA is doing on 4K gamers. And this wouldn't be happening if AMD had their shit together and was actually putting together a competitive architecture. And at this point, they are not competing, and this is what is happening. NVIDIA fully understands that they are way ahead of the curve, and there's nothing we can do about it as consumers. So the best thing that you can do as a consumer is not buy this, because if you're telling NVIDIA that you're not going to buy such a product, they're not going to price it so highly. And on top of that, their gaming lineup, we don't even know how much that's going to cost. You know, this is just a forewarning about the gaming lineup too. You know, if we draw a line in the sand, that's the best that we can do as consumers and not buy this product, then NVIDIA kind of gets the message that we don't want to be milked that hard. Now, I'm sure we'll be milked, but it's about how much we're getting milked. You know, I don't want to buy the next 1080, you know, successor, let's call it the 2080, and it costs, you know, $1,200 or something ridiculous. I'm not paying that much money for a card like that. At most $800, and even that I think is still expensive. Now, you know, I still want to remain as neutral as I possibly can, because I try and do that. So hopefully NVIDIA will come out with some news on that, and hopefully it's way more affordable than you know, anything else when it comes to their gaming lineup. But you know, I can't really support this decision. But, you know, I don't know what to say. I'm kind of happy, but I'm also not. I don't know. You guys, leave me your comments below. Like the video if you liked it, of course. And yeah, interesting times we're living in.